Welcome back to the WeCare Podcast. I'm Jordan Vaughn, nurse practitioner and owner of WeCare Health and Wellness.
And I'm Molly Cooey, RN at WeCare. So today's episode is going to be a little more personal than our normal episodes. I realize we talk all the time about aesthetics, wellness, hormones, skincare, but we haven't really talked any further about how we got to where we are.
People see the business and they just assume, it was a perfectly planned path. And we got here, by just taking one little step at a time that we all had planned out on a piece of paper. And that is so far from the truth.
Yes, that didn't even happen at all, not even a little bit. So today we thought we'd share our backgrounds, our education paths, the weird twists and turns, and honestly just encourage anybody who feels like they're behind or didn't take that traditional route.
I think like social media, especially, it makes it look like everyone just woke up successful one day. People see degrees on the wall, they see businesses, certifications, all that polished stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't see the years of working and school and second guessing, being exhausted and just feeling like you're taking the long road.
And I definitely took the long road.
Well, let's talk about it.
So my path into healthcare, honestly, was not traditional at all. I actually started out at Georgia Northwestern Technical College, which at the time was called Coosa Valley Tech still back then.
I remember that.
Yes. And originally I was going to go into pharmacy. I got an associate's degree in applied science as a pharmacy tech, became certified, and started working in Kindred Pharmacy in Kindred at the hospital. It doesn't even exist anymore. Okay. Yes, I was working in the basement of the hospital.
I don't think I knew that.
Yes, a long time ago. And I was there for about a year, and I just remember thinking, okay, this is healthcare, but I don't think this is where I'm supposed to stay.
And that's kind of a scary, realization. You've already put all of your time into that school and that education, and it's a little scary.
Yep. So it was scary. I'd finished the program, started working, done everything that I was supposed to do. And then after, about that 9 months, I realized I wanted more patient interaction, more responsibility, and honestly, more growth opportunities. So I went back to Georgia Northwestern and did the LPN program there. And that program it's technically just a diploma program. It's not another degree. But I finished it, sat for boards, and literally right after boards found out I was pregnant.
Oh, what a terrible timing.
The absolute worst timing. Totally
it's a blessing now.
Right.
Yes.
But horrible timing when you're trying to start a career.
Yes.
And, I immediately panicked because I know a lot of places weren't going to be exactly thrilled about hiring a brand new, pregnant nurse.
Yes.
So instead of sitting still, I immediately applied to go back to school again and get my RN. Through Georgia Highlands. And this is where things got frustrating for me because at that time, Georgia Highlands wouldn't accept several of my classes from Georgia Northwestern.
That would be so frustrating.
So luckily for everybody in years past, a rule has gone through or a law has changed and they have to, all those classes swap between the schools. But of course, I was not lucky enough to be a part of that. But even though I had done really well academically at Georgia Northwestern, I had around a 3.8, 3.9 GPA at that time. I still basically had to spend a year redoing classes while pregnant.
That sounds absolutely miserable, to be honest.
It was exhausting. And on top of that, because of mistakes that I had made years earlier when it was still Floyd College, before it became Georgia Highlands, I was basically told I would probably never get accepted into the nursing program because it was so competitive and because I had screwed up when I was younger and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
I feel like that'll really stick with you, though, hearing that, your past mistakes are, going to block you. That's really frustrating.
It is, but luckily I just kept going because at that point, there wasn't really any other option.
Right.
But I did those classes. And thankfully, I got accepted into the program and graduated from Georgia Highlands in 2016. So technically, I now have 2 associate's degrees, an LPN diploma, my bachelor's degree, which I completed, in 2018, and a whole lot of stubbornness on my behalf.
Hey, it's okay. Stubbornness is needed in healthcare. I feel like it's a requirement.
Absolutely. But in all honesty, your story is probably even more unconventional than mine.
Yeah, I dropped out of high school. So,
and that absolutely blows people's minds when they hear that, because you literally have a doctorate now.
It really does. And a lot of times it doesn't get brought up, but when it does get brought up, it blows people away. So yeah, I got my GED whenever I was 16 years old. And, I just don't think when I did that, anybody would have predicted academically where my life would go at that point, And I really think that that's why this episode and this conversation matters, because so many people, they think because of one bad season or one detour, it's going to define your future forever. I did not drop out of high school because I felt like, I was in trouble or anything like that, but still it was an unconventional route. And I feel like that's where I can relate to a lot of people that do struggle with their route. I chose to drop out. I was really bored. A lot of people that know me know I'm very ADD. I struggle like focusing and sitting still, and like I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to go to this room and I want to go to that room. So I do that with my work too. So if you look at my desk, you can tell my patients that have been in my office, they understand me, I don't focus very well. And I got bored. I was just so bored and over it. And then I had some health things that were, going on too. Going to find out it's just low blood sugar, but,
Right.
Just a lot going on. And it just pushed me to where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be stuck here. My dad's like, you want to go homeschool? I'm like, yeah, I want to go homeschool. Well, I just took my GED instead, and I got accepted to Georgia Highlands. I was the first 16-year-old ever accepted there. I had to go through all those interview processes and all the things. And I had my core classes done within like a year, because I took classes just like I was in high school. Instead of, spreading them out, I just took classes after classes every Maymester, June, everywhere I could stick a class, I was in it. And then I got to start the nursing program. I got accepted when I was 17 and graduated it when I was 19.
I don't think I realized that you were that young when you started the nursing program. Wow.
I used to joke with
You really were a baby nurse.
I was a baby. But I would joke with my patients in the beginning, like when I'd be in the ER and I'd be pushing pain meds. I'm like, I can push you a pain med, but I can't drink a beer. And they would die. I mean, they would die laughing. They're like, you're only 19. Like, it's kind of scary, I'm sure, to think a 19-year-old taking care of you. But it was my path, and I embraced it. And then I would say, talking about like challenges, though, of the route that I took, I feel like it was amazing, the route I took, but there were challenges too. I feel like in some areas maybe I wasn't as mature, and I had to grow up a lot faster than obviously my peers did. And then just talking about like drinking and stuff, like I'm hanging out with college kids at a really young age, and I would get into a little bit of trouble with my, parents for doing things that I shouldn't be doing at the age that I was. So I definitely had some struggles as, a young adult too, trying to get through college, trying to be a teenager, trying to,
Right. That's a lot to navigate at that age.
It was so challenging.
And especially, I feel like maybe we're not as hard on teenagers these days trying to navigate. Like, I feel like maybe because we struggled so much, we are giving our kids a little bit more freedom or grace these days. But it was not that way for us growing up.
Not at all. Not at all. Oh, I remember those days coming home. I got in some big trouble.
Right.
But then challenges as far as like professionally, like I would take a break because whenever I finished one thing, I knew that I had to work to save up money to go back to school. And so like I finished my associates, I saved up money so that I could go back to my bachelor's. And then I would work and save up money for my master's, but then that got to be so expensive that I couldn't afford it. So I started taking student loans. And then I had this huge student loan bill, you know, because I went on and got my doctorate, and then I got my emergency certification, and I did all of these things. So then that's a challenge, you know, and I'm still paying student loans, and I probably will till I die. But I do say all of that to say no matter the path, whether it's challenging or unconventional, you'll get through it, you know, you'll get there, and it's going to be worth it. And if you're doing it today, if you're doing it when you're 50, if it's on your heart to do it, do it. That's just how I feel about it. So, I feel like if you're going to do it though, you've got to be very, consistent whenever you decide what route you're going to take. You've just got to be consistent. And I feel like that's what got me to where I am.
Well, that's, I mean, for me too, with that kind of being told, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You got to have that stubbornness is coming into play again. You got to have that goal and be willing to do whatever to reach that goal.
Right.
So.
And my goal was not in the beginning to start WeCare. And I think we talked about that in an episode before. Like, it wasn't, oh, hey, I got to go to school because I'm going to open a business.
Right.
That was not on my radar at all. I feel like it kind of fell in my lap, and John pushed me there. And he was like, you can do this. Now is the time. And it worked. And where my heart was for patients and people, it all aligned. And I just found that that's where I had to be consistent, you know, like I shifted my perspective, and then I've just been consistent in my business now, you know.
Right.
But it definitely just fell into my lap kind of thing.
That is exactly what I say about injecting, because people ask me all the time, so did you go into nursing knowing that you wanted to do this? Absolutely not.
Nope.
I went into nursing thinking that I was going to be a labor and delivery nurse. And that is far from where I am these days.
Yes. Yes.
But again, injecting just fell into my lap. Working in dermatology, it just became an opportunity, a question, you know, do you want to try this? And I gave it a whirl and fell in love with it. And here we are 10, 11 years later.
With aesthetics, for me, it was definitely not on the radar when I opened the business. And then I started it because of that non-compete that I had. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And now I will never not, you know, work in aesthetics. Obviously, I've got to open up my goals, you know, as far as getting the primary care going, having the hormone therapy and all of the wellness. Like, that was when I first opened it, that was the dream.
Right.
But I had to start somewhere. Right. And then aesthetics just, I love it, you know.
But I love how you've been able to merge both together so well. Like, it isn't just a standard one and done thing. Like, you can come here for aesthetics, but you can also be comfortable enough to address wellness issues too. And most all of us are versed at least a little bit to help guide somebody to who they really need, which professional they really need to talk to address any concerns that they have.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I do have to point out though that the odds of somebody dropping out and eventually getting a doctorate are incredibly low. Like, I wish I had that real percentage on me right now. We'll have to figure that out and post that somewhere, but
that would be, I don't even know what it is, but that would be.
I want to see the real number.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Let me know when you figure it out.
Right. I'm gonna look. That's on my to-do list tonight when I can't sleep and, you know, down the TikTok rabbit hole. I'm gonna Google that.
Perfect.
Or what is it the young people say now? I'm gonna chat GPT that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right.
I bet maybe we could do that now. I'm kidding.
So another thing, when people outside of this industry probably don't realize is that graduation is honestly like just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. Especially like in aesthetics and wellness, the field, it's changing constantly.
Right. The certifications, the advanced trainings, cadaver courses, injector trainings, laser education, hormone education. It never ends.
No.
And that's a great thing. We don't want it to end because, I mean, healthcare in general is, ever evolving.
Right.
But it's just, so important to continue, that education and make sure that we're following the safest techniques possible and that we know all the anatomy and
Yes.
all the things there are to know.
But I think that sets us apart too from other places. I feel like some people truly just get a certification and they think they're good to go and they're done.
Yes.
I love that we go to the dinners, and I love that we go and, to all of the new trainings or bringing in trainers from across the United States to show us the newest advanced technique. We're always evolving and always, changing.
And questioning. If a product we don't think we're getting the results from a product, we're reaching out to people and they're bringing in like their advanced people in that product. We just went through this, recently with Sculptra.
Yeah.
And they brought in top injectors to come and work through us and see what kind of issues we were potentially experiencing with the product and spent the entire day with us. And I love that we're willing to, give things another chance and just learn as much as possible.
Continue our education and make sure that our patients have the best of us, but also the safest. Everything that we do is it has been, through the ringer of trial and error. We didn't just do it on our patients. We have done the training. We have backed it all up by education.
Right.
Right.
So, if there's really one thing we want people to take from this episode, it's really that there is no one right timeline, to achieve your goals.
And to just get educated, and there's no one right starting point either. You can start at any point. I think I said that earlier. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 50 years old and you want to get in aesthetics, go for it. Like, go get the education and, continue just training and do what you love. Follow your, you don't want to say follow your heart. I don't really like that. But if it's on your heart, if God laid it on your heart, follow that. Trust that.
Some people will take that traditional college route. Some are going to start later in life.
Yes.
Some are going to completely change careers.
Like you. I didn't know you started in pharmacy.
Yes.
That kind of blows my mind.
And then, some people struggle academically early on, and then they thrive later. It just takes them longer to get to that point. But all that to say, your starting point does not determine your end point.
Yes. And some of the best providers and business owners I know, there are the people who've had to fight their way through those unconventional paths.
So, hopefully this episode encouraged someone today who feels behind or discouraged or like they missed their chance.
Yeah, because trust us, we did not have that conventional route, and they just didn't follow the original plan of life.
We were not even close.
No. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to tune in to the next one if you did, and just share it with one of your friends that you want to encourage. If you have any questions on our route or our education or the route to aesthetics, just message us. We'd love to hear from you.
And make sure to subscribe and follow WeCare for more education and behind the scenes content. And don't forget that at the end of the day,
We care, and we'll see you next time.